Morning, everyone. How are we doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's get this all set. What's going on, Rebo? How you doing? Perfect. That's all set. Awesome. We got everything all set up. Welcome in, everyone. What's going on, Grandma? How you doing? There we go. Perfect. All right, let me get all the alerts out here. Let everyone know that we're live. Morning, Rebo. Mahadi, how you doing? Glad to see you still sticking around, Mahadi. Hopefully things are going a little bit better. Perfect. All right, good morning, guys. Chris, how you doing? Yeah, I'm feeling much better now. Feeling much better. I've been going pretty light the past couple of days, so feel a lot better now. Jimmy, what's going on? Giuliano, Captain Royd app, Pat, good morning. Alana, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Morning, Bob. Were you able to catch that one last night? Hopefully, I think it's like 11 o'clock your time. That one was. We missed a little bit of it. Missed a little bit of the continuation, sadly, but that is what it is. I'll go and cover that real quick here too. What's going on, Mark? Good morning. JL, how you doing? Spiritas, IB remains goated. Sure does. Aritala, how you doing? All right, so I was back testing last night with the Globex IB. What's going on, random barbarian? I'm 190 away from a max payout on Apex. Watch me screw this up. No, you get it. You're all good. You don't have to get it today. So I have I don't know if Steve's. No, he's not. He's not here yet. I've had a pending payout request for Apex since last Wednesday now. So it's going on 6 days, no response on the payout. And it's not just me either. Steve has had a support ticket open for 11 days and he requested his payout 12 days ago on Apex. 24K payout for him. And mine is just another max payout, but they have not answered at all. Anyway, that's why I've been trading on my funded futures again. I have no desire to give Apex any credibility or any exposure, so that's why I've been on either Lucid, Tradeify, or the most recent one, My Funded Futures. So for Globex IB, because we've been getting so many questions about this one has been doing, they're migrating to their pro accounts. Yeah, they suck. The Globex IB, I'm glad you caught this last night, Bob. This was this was as perfect as it gets. And I'm a little sad that I didn't hold it afterwards, or someone had just knocked me out and I had a stop loss at break even, because we had another 500-point continuation down after that IB broke. So it was a 72-point IB, 68-point IB last night. Held on to the IB low until 8:15, and then whatever news we had went from 140-point drop. I thought that was it for sure, and then I woke up this morning, it was down another 500 points. But anyway, for that Globex IB, and we'll get Edgeful up here. I'm having a little difficulty getting the data up, so we'll talk about that on stream tomorrow with Andre. Andre will be joining me on stream tomorrow, and then Thursday, I think James is coming on stream. So we'll have some guests this week. We also have those giveaways for the Edgeful accounts, the 5-month plan, 5 1-month giveaways tomorrow. Anyway, so for this data, we're used to trading the New York IB. You use Globex the exact same way. So we had the high form first, 25.11. We had the low form second, 24.943. We wait for an entry at the midpoint, which I got. I thought it was perfect. I don't know what the slippage was. I even had a limit order set. I still got filled 2 points below, or 1.5 points below where my limit order was, which is weird. Anyway, I'm not too picky about that. It was 2 MNQ last night for a 34-point drop with the slippage on both sides, which is, again, ridiculous. Ended up only being 31 points. So that drop correlated to 126 over 2 micros. And again, it's the same exact concept as we use for New York IB. We wait for the lower high to show which direction we're pushing, and then we enter at the midpoint. We enter at 50%. Just to confirm, you're using 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. EST for Globex. Does it work on both ES and NQ? Yeah, I would only use it on 6 to 7 is correct, Maggie. I would only use it on MES and MNQ. If you go over and look at ES, and it happens more often on ES, I think it's something to do with the volume. ES sometimes, so it did it earlier last week as well. ES sometimes breaks the low or the high, and it will cause it to be a loss, even though it didn't end up breaking on MES, and vice versa. I've only taken one false trade on MES from slippage, and that was the one that we were in over here, 0225, where the wick didn't actually end up happening. So MNQ and MES, it works the same. You want them to line up as well. So for MNQ and MES from last night, for example, we had, this was the range last night on both MES and MNQ. It looks pretty much the same, almost identical actually. You had the high form for a 6886. You had the low form at 6870. The reason I didn't take this one last night on MES was because it was 8 points from the midpoint. So it would have been like $60 with 2 MES, so, or $80 with 2 MES, so it wasn't really worth it. But M&Q, same exact concept. You want to make sure they're lining up. If they don't line up, then you're not taking the trade. And that's because it kind of happened on Sunday. No. Right here on 0226. So last Friday when we took that trade, ES was pointing to the downside. M&Q, which is what I'm on right now, is pointing towards the upside. M&Q from last week. Find it. 0226 right here. So this one made equal highs, which don't count for new highs being made on the IB. This one ended up going and taking the IB low, and after it took the IB low, then we went and took the IB high on M and Q. So you want both of them to line up because that will prevent you from trying to call which one is false and which one is true. So both of them need to line up. I'm loving these multiple IB plays. If Globex is as reliable as New York, they're going to be my bread and butter plays. So I start getting consistent payouts. I'm not doing anything else. So far, so good. Awesome. Same for you too, Maggie. Glad to hear. Past 6 month stat for Globex would be helpful. Yeah, I'm gonna ask Andre for his help. So what I went over to M&Q for it, and I created the custom range for Globex, but for whatever reason, it doesn't really populate for me, the IB by rejection. So I'm gonna have to have his help tomorrow. Either way, it does. The screenshot that he sent me, these have about the same outcome. So QQQ for the IB by rejection, that was yesterday's stats, which we did take the low forming first, and then we took the break in the high yesterday. Tuesdays, our best days for the IB. Keep that in mind. 80-80. So either way, we have about a 4 and 5 chance of breaking the high or low today. And my guess is we'll probably, with us being outside of yesterday's range, we'll probably have a continuation up. I'm going to pull that stat up here in a minute. So our previous day's range right here, that's our previous day's low and high. We have let me line that up. I'm putting the arrow there because it lines up with the outside day stat. So we have a 71% chance that we reverse back up and go and take out that previous day's low. I'm actually going to go and post this on X real quick. Hopefully it lets me. For whatever reason, my screenshots do not want to work. Damn. Yeah, it does not want to work when I try to take a screenshot. Whatever. I'll get it on my other laptop. We'll give it a minute. Anyway, we have a 71% chance that we reverse back up. So I'm expecting us to go up to 597.95. I'm not even going to bother looking at the gap fill report today. We're down 2%. We have, over the past 6 months, we have a 100% chance that this does not get filled. Yesterday's gap was 1.42, so it was just below that 1.5%. Oh, shoot. My screenshot's working now. Nice. Let's see. Sweet. It's the first time that's worked for a long time. Wonder why. Damn. No, only got the one. Anyway, if anyone could be, no, never mind. I'll just do it on my laptop. I was gonna say someone else could take the screenshot for me. Let me catch up on some of these comments in chat here. Sorry, I missed that. Many people seem to have delayed payouts the past week, but it's strange. They were doing them 2 days the weeks before. Yeah, I know. For Apex, I'm way up here in the comments, by the way. For Apex, I requested it on February 24th. So it's been a very long time now, 6 days. And that's just to get approved or denied on the payout. That has nothing to do with like the 11 days it takes for them to send the payout. So I'm gonna be waiting half of March to get a payout, and I haven't been able to trade on them because they haven't approved or denied the payout, and I don't want to have that interfere with getting the payout, which is ridiculous. What time is Globex first hour? 6 o'clock to 7. 6 to 7 is Globex. So you're open for overnight is at 6. And then again for last night, we formed the high right at that open. And then the low was formed at 6:30, 6:45. And then we retraced up. I entered this trade. I typed it out in the Discord. Oh, sweet. There we go. I don't have to do it on my laptop. Nice. I don't know what's going on with the screenshots, but they do not want to work when I'm streaming on StreamYard. Start your day. Outside days. When price opens. Sorry, I'm going to get this tweet out real quick, then we'll get back into what I was just covering. Price opens outside of previous day's range. Has about a 70% chance of reversing back into previous day's range. A 71% chance of hitting previous day's low on Qs, which is at 598.02. But we have no chance of we have almost no chance of going and hitting the gap fill, which is all the way up to 607. $12 drop to start the day. 598. Well, we're still within that 6-month gap range. Okay. Going back to Globex. So we formed the high right at the opening wick, formed the low at 6:30, 6:45. I took the trade. I typed it out in Discord. So of the exact time I took it, I took the trade last night at 6:55. So I did enter a little early. I could have waited. The only reason I entered at 6:55 is because I set a limit order, which again, I don't know why I had the order fill. I had 1.5 of slippage. So it must have gone and wicked to that 50% midpoint and then came right back down. This trade, what I want to add in from last night, this is pretty cool for this one. This trade immediately flashed up right at 7 o'clock. It went from 24,975 all the way down to 24,950. So it was up 25 points. And then it hit the midpoint again, and then it went down and hit the full TP. And I think I got out at like 712, 713. So it hit the $100 profit on 2 micros, went back up, hit the midpoint, and then went all the way back down. If I was fast enough, I probably could have gotten 2 entries on this, so it could have been a $200 day, but that's fine. We'll just wait for today's IB. Now, what I want to add in as well, I have been sizing up a little bit. So I'm going to do probably 2 MES, maybe 2 MNQ, depending on the size of our range today. We'll see. The reason I'm sizing up is because this strategy has presented itself so incredibly well, and it's been extremely reliable for us to use. So the time for Globex IB is 6 to 7 ET. And then Asia is 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I wouldn't really use the Asia IB because it's right with Globex IB. You're kind of adding too many measures right there. For Asia IB, this is what it was last night. You immediately broke to the downside. So this one wouldn't have offered you an entry. Something we could start looking into, which I have no desire to, but last night we saw how strong of a resistance that IB low was. So you could use that as another entry. I would just accept the IB as is. There's no reason to trade outside of it. Yeah, I missed another 400, 500 points last night. There had to have been news that I didn't see that came out. It is what it is. Now we just go and wait for the New York IB. I'm very happy to have 2 trades on the IB now. We get hopefully like 120 to 200 for the Globex one, and then come Asia or New York, sorry, we get another 200 to 300. Obviously, it would have been nice to catch some of the Globex continuation, but is there any statistic that you could have held runners? No, this was a crazy outlier last night. So it's again, it's the same concept as the IB for New York. This is a standard deviation move after the IB is done. So this continuation down that we had, that's one standard deviation right there. Meaning that last night we made probably an 8, maybe even 10 standard. Let's see if I can copy these. Can I duplicate? Nope. So I'll just draw it in manually. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and some change for the standard deviation move last night, which we rarely make a 1 standard deviation move. Keep that in mind. So that move that we had last night, 1, it's off news, but 2, that was 8 standard deviations we made to the downside. There's no way that anyone's going to be catching that unless you have no attachment to the account. You're not managing the trade whatsoever, or if you just happen to fall asleep in a short and get lucky with the move down, no one's catching that entire move. I don't think it would even really be possible to catch that because you're going to be securing it either at 10 before you go to bed, 11 before you go to bed, whatever time frame. No one's going to be catching that whole move down, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Even Ash, he caught the same IB trade, and he said that he held it to like 24.8. He missed another 400 points to the downside as well. And I don't know why he held it past the IB break. He had some other confluence to it, I'm sure. But very difficult for someone to ride the entire move down. Download snippet. It's something to do with StreamYard that doesn't like me taking screenshots. I don't know why. Can you tell us more about this reversal setup? Yeah, it's that logged me out too. The reversal setup for outside days. I'm catching up on the comments right now. Sorry, guys. Reversal setup for the outside bar days is when price opens outside of previous day's range, which is where we are right now. So we have a 71% chance that we go and reverse the previous day's low. We did the same exact thing yesterday as well. So this was previous day's range going into Monday's open. That was a reversal that we had right to open. And we also had a 71% chance on that. So we reversed right up and then we ended up continuing. Yesterday did fill the gap. Today, I can't make it go any higher than 1.5%. Even over 1.5%, you can see over the past 6 months we haven't had a fill of a gap this size. Even though there's only been one outcome, we can go to like 2 or 3 years, and it's still going to be down at 8% chance. So very unlikely that we get a gap fill today, but we have a 71% chance that it gets up to 597. So my anticipation for today is going to be that we get up to probably, at the very least, I think we get 600. It's probably going to happen right at open like it did yesterday. And then maybe like 602, 603, and then pull back. The VIX is also trading at 26. Keep that in mind. So anytime the VIX is over 17, be a little more cautious, especially trading at 26 right now. That means our moves on any news, our moves in general are going to be amplified by like 2.5, 3 times what they usually are. So a $4 to $5 opening candle is not off the table. Who is this? Who is what? Who's who? Using the 2.5 hour IB with NQ rejection, 82%, 71% using edge fill. Thank you, Mark. Morning, Pip. How you doing? I do not have a gold strategy, Lion. Yeah, and exactly what you just said, Mark. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 for standard deviations. That was with a 70% success rate. That standard deviation we made last night was 8. You entered early on the IB yesterday. I did, yeah. I thought I was going to be wrong with it at first. I entered at about 683.50 and ended up wicking down to 682.40. I added another one, and then it hit the full TP right at 11. I secured 200 on that yesterday, and then I was like $30 off of getting a payout, so I just pushed a little bit. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. For that IB for yesterday, the size of the IB also dictates whether I get in early. So if the IB is larger, that's when I'll front run the IB, or I'll get in before it hits 50%, and then I'll just put a 1-to-1. I took a little bit from Dan, who uses the 25% as an entry as opposed to the 50. So those 25% levels, which is where we bounced yesterday, 683.40, those ones are kind of valid as well. Same thing on Qs that bounced right at 25% yesterday. So I just put a 1-to-1 when I enter early on those. When I say gap fill, what does that mean? The gap fill that we have right now, we are currently gap down $12 on Qs. So that means we would have to push up $12 to get a gap fill. So we'd have to go from 596 all the way up to yesterday's close at 608. That's the gap fill I'm referring to. Does IB work on YM? It does, yes. I don't trade YM, but it does work on that. You're keeping that previous New York view up on my screen from now on. Two super accurate bounces off that. Yeah, no problem, Journey. I've noticed that trailing my stop loss to swing points outside of the range works very well and captures more profit in the long run. How do you feel about Funded Next? Do you have any accounts with them? I haven't tried them yet. Funded Next did. Is Tyree in here? He's not. Funded Next did reach out to me for a partnership. I just haven't answered them. I do want to try Funded Next. I know they're kind of expensive though. Sorry, I missed that, Maggie. Have you looked at New York or Globex for gold? I know that the IB doesn't really work on gold. Something to do with it opening 10 minutes before New York, but it also just it doesn't really work in general because of volatility and overall weak movement. Like yesterday, it formed the high first into the low. The only reason I don't like it as much on gold as well is because you're holding through like even with 1 micro. This range from yesterday was $5, so that's about 80 points. So you're holding with 1 micro, you're holding this through $220, $280 in drawdown, and then it goes and hits the full TP. So if you have the risk for it, you could try it, but the IB on gold is a very weak measure, especially like Friday last week. Great example there too. This was a $2, $3 range, so like 50 points, and you're holding it through. It went like 90% of the way to the IB low where you're invalidated. So you're holding it through another $200 in drawdown, probably very close to hitting the stop loss, and that reversed. There's the outside bar filled already. So we already filled our outside day stat right there, 598.01. I'm going to be anticipating up to 600. I think that's a pretty good level for us to get up to right into open. I know that I'm also affiliated with Edgeful, so I do have a little bias using their statistics. What's going on, Cash? How you doing? I do have a little bias with their stats, but you guys can see how accurate the stats are regardless. Like if I hadn't had Edgeful right there and I hadn't had the knowledge of the outside day stat for Qs, I wouldn't have anticipated a move up. I don't know why that just dropped. It was at, it's because I'm on 2 years now. 71%. So we already fulfilled that. That means this should jump up to probably 72, 73 now. But that's our first price target done for the day. IB low form first so far. IB high second. Obviously, it's just the first 2 minutes, but we'll see. At what point is the range size? Do you decide to size up? If the range, I'm trying to stay consistent with 2 micros now, Rob. If the range is like it was yesterday, this range was, I don't know, 400 points on M and Q yesterday. Probably not likely that we get a 200 point reversal down to 602 and then get our entry there and then back up. So I entered early on MES because it was closer to the IB 50, but it was also at 25%. And we had the screener was screaming bullish yesterday. If you partner with them, Zinc, let us know. I have some accounts with them. We'll add. So why not add with your code? Thank you. I am currently affiliated with Lucid, MyFunded Futures, and Tradeify. So if you guys want to use any of those accounts, code Zinc works with them. Lucid's 25K Pro is definitely the best account in the space right now. After that, I would say probably the MyFunded Futures Rapid or the 50K Select for Tradeify or 50K Growth. The growth accounts of Tradeify are probably my favorite, but these 50K Selects, once you get outside of the trailing intraday drawdown, it's really easy to get those payouts rolling. And I'll go and log in just so you guys can see. I got that payout approved and paid yesterday in all less than a minute. So they are, motorcycle. I hate these captchas. Traffic lights. Stupid. That payout got approved and sent to me all within a minute yesterday on MyFunded Futures. I do have some difficulty logging into their platform. That's the only downside, I'd say. Now that we already hit that previous day's low as well, we don't really have much of a draw to the upside. So the development from here will just be natural. Whatever price is doing. We don't have market day this week. I mean, it's not a very bad downside to MyFunded Futures. It's just slow to logging in, sadly. Probably because there's so many other people trying to. We have 3 speakers today, and that's it. 9:55, 10:10, 11:55, but I'll be done before 11:55. And then ISM PMI tomorrow, 9:45, 10, and 2 o'clock Fed Beige Book, and then we should have CPI next week, March 11th. There we go. All right, so I took, should be on here, but I took 2 payouts back-to-back days on these accounts so far. Let's see, load. There we go. So these are all, this was yesterday. It was 590, but with the 90-10 split, it kind of came down to 530. I submitted it at 513, approved, or funds removed, and I got paid out in 8 seconds on Rise, which is faster than Lucid, crazy enough. So it was an 8-second payout last night. I was on the top one. You have to request all of them separately. But these ones are either the 50K Rapids or the 50K Selects with Tradeify. These ones are definitely top 3. And then to go and get another payout, you have to hit 500 profit, and you have to just maintain over the buffer, which I'm already over. And the platform updated yesterday at like 5 o'clock ish. So I got the payout well before Globex started. I didn't have to worry about not being able to trade Globex. Do you tend to build a larger buffer before starting withdrawals? No, I take the profits. I take the payouts as soon as I can. I think that if you try going for more, it's just a little greedy, but you also get a little mental fatigue because you have the payout, and then when you take a loss, you're like, man, if I had just taken the payout, I would have had this much, and then that's how you start a never-ending tilt. Got 70 points on that move up. Now I wait for the IB to trade my fundeds. There you go, Phil. So if you're to wait for the IB 50 on NQ and ES, trade frequency won't be many. Is that right? No, you'll still have. We had the entry at 50% on ES. Had it on Friday. I know that. We had the entry. Oops. This one was 5 minutes on Friday. Monday there was no entry if you were waiting for 50%. Friday, I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's because I was in the trades, in and out of the trade so fast. This was the Friday trade right here. So I did enter a little bit before 50% again on Friday, but this one you can't be. This was off by like 14 cents from hitting 50%. And then this one hit 50% perfectly. Then went all the way back down to IB low. This one was another perfect 50%. So you'll have actually, I'll pull this up. So we had 2 people in the Discord last night back tests for the year. One of them did a mechanical back test. The other one did a shoot. How am I going to do this? There we go. So this is the back test that he has in Tyree within the Discord. He did this back test last night. This was for the year 2025. Somewhat mechanical, I think, or mechanical the whole time, but you can see like March, he only had 8 entries because it didn't hit the 50% very often. Same with December. 67% win rate on the IB, 20,748 profit with a 1.12 risk reward. So some of the trades were a little bit better than 1-to-1. So for anyone that is skeptical in the IB, this is what the stats showed for last year. Profit factor 2.3. So even with a 67% win rate, you're making about 200. For every dollar you lose, you're making $2.32, which is really good. Usually the profit factor is in the like 1 to 1.5 range. But very happy to see these stats on this. We'll leave it up for a little bit longer. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask what he used. I think this was 1 micro is what he back tested it with. Let me see if he add that in. Here's more stats on that as well. So he did. I'm assuming this is 1 micro. Let's see if it says contracts anywhere. Maximum consecutive wins 9, maximum consecutive losses 3. So at the absolute worst, it lost 3 days in a row. 6 break-even trades. So 1 micro, average win 313, average loss 279, average trade P&L $56 profit for the entire year. Worst month was September last year, negative 654. Best month was November, 3,782. The IB is very good. A very good strategy. And that's without him adding in the Globex IB. Yeah, if you could, Bob, that'd be great. Backtest the Globex IB for 2025. That happened to me. I had a payout ready, but decided to go for more and buffer and blew it. Yeah, you can always go and start the accounts over. I've learned that lesson one too many times. Like if I had these, I have 4,200 in these accounts for the distance to liquidity. If I were to try to push these to 8,000 and take a 20K payout like I said I was going to last week, that could take me 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Or what I could do is I could just take the IB trade. If I make enough to get a payout, great. I'll take the payout. If not, then I'll just do it tomorrow, take a payout tomorrow, and so on and so forth. If I take 5 daily payouts in a row of 2,500 to 3,000 a piece, that's a almost $15,000 to $18,000 payout range. That's the same as me waiting 2 weeks to get a 20K payout. So just as soon as I get the profit to take the payouts, I take the payout. I don't really have a reason to push. With these My Funded Futures accounts as well, if I get like another 2, maybe 3 payouts, they should start looking to move me live, and then I'll have a $10,000 live account with them, which is what my goal is. So just take the payouts when you're qualified for the payout. There's no reason to risk it to make a little bit more profit. I don't think, anyway. Let's see how the stream quality looks today. How you feeling? Much better, Rolo? Much better. The stream quality looks all right. So far, we got them in sync. Let's hope it stays that way. I need layout to boost the server so we have HD streams. Oh, you're talking about SPY and Qs. Silly me. I woke up this morning and my phone was littered with alerts. My iOS updated. I had 113 DM requests on Twitter. All came flooding in at the same time. I hadn't gone through my request folder on Twitter for a while. It all just came blowing in. Did we make a new low? Yeah, we did. Something else I might add in as well for today. So we could have an IB trade today. We'll see. There's plenty of time left. When we have a crazy large move, I don't know what there was for news last night. For the most part, I saw that it just grinded down. It wasn't like an explosive move to the downside. when we have a crazy large move like this, price usually takes a day to correct or consolidate. So I don't think we're going to V shape back up. I think we're probably going to stay right here for most of the day. We might stay below 600 and just kind of pitter out for the day. So not a very large IB range to trade, but we could just have a weak move, weak-ish move. Chad analysis 2025. Here are the IB stats. Here are the IB results. 111 total trades, win rate 57%, profit factor 135. Still really good. Max consecutive wins 6, max consecutive losses 5, and that's only entering at 50% with no. So that's the mechanical approach for 2025. You still have a profit factor of 135. It's really good. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we've been using with the IB as well. So going to the IB about rejection, and we did this 2 weeks ago for Qs. You guys remember on the Wednesday that it was at 90% and I inversed it because it was overdue loss. That's a little bit of intuition that you can put in. Yesterday we took a win because of the size of the IB range. So even though we didn't get the 50% retracement, we took an early entry because of how large the IB was. Friday last week, I took the entry on MES as opposed to MNQ because MES was at 50%, MNQ wasn't. So there's a lot of factors that you can put in. It's not a super mechanical strategy. It can be. But if you add in factors like taking MES as opposed to taking MNQ because MES is at 50%, that's another added win or added little intuition to the strategy. Obviously, we just added in the Globex IB, so that's another success, another piece of successful content to it. Globex, I'm going to ask Andre. Andre will be on stream tomorrow with us. So tomorrow I'm going to ask him to go over how to get the Globex. He sent me a screenshot and I tried replicating it. I just cannot. I can't get the data to pop up. I made the custom time range for MNQ and everything. I just can't get the data to show up on here. How long did it take you to pass the Trade 550K select? Those ones you have to pass in 3 days minimum. I think it took me like a week just because I was being kind of stupid on them. Large moves overnight usually has a consolidating New York AM session. Yes. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that much of a continuation. The range of the IB right now, as well, is it's like 70 points from the midpoint. Overall range is 140, I think. That's our high and low right there. So our high is at 660 and our low is 489. It's a little bit more. It's a 160 point range. Just about 170 points. It's a pretty small range after coming off a 500 point continuation after the IB broke last night. Form the IB low, IB high form first, IB low form second. So we're going to be targeting the low. These stats are equal for today. So either way, we're going to have a 4 and 5 chance of going to target that level. I have a Discord stream on as well, Quantel. Discord gets the lives every day. How long did you trade the IB? I've been trading it since like May of last year. It's been a while. Does it work for London Open? I think so. I don't. Today is a pretty bad example to go and look, Rolo, but I believe it works for London Open. Let's see. Hold on, I need to. What time is London Open? London session open. I think it's 3:30. 2 to 3. Someone in here's got to know what time's London Open. I need help. Globex is 6 to 7. Yes, 3 to 4. Thank you, Rain. That's what I thought. I don't know why that was saying 2 to 3. 3 to 4. 3 to 4. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so 3 o'clock. Yeah, this one definitely did not work. 3 o'clock to 4 for the low. So you almost got a 50% entry today. Got pretty close at 4. Maybe MES. I hate how clunky Trade Evade is. All right, MES might have been a little bit closer. 3 to 4. MES was a tiny bit closer. So you could have gotten an entry on this today. Overall range for London was 6.816, 25, 40 points. So about a 20-point breakdown, 21-point breakdown. So $200 about. And then MNQ, it didn't quite get to 50%. It got very close. And this is something I was just adding in or just talking about. You could use your intuition to get in a little bit early. Because if you can get an entry, the midpoint, 6.796, this candle wicked up to 6.794. So it's a 2-point difference in where you could have gotten an entry. That's you being greedy about 2 points. And what you could do, instead of risking 1-to-1, you could just drag the stop loss 2 points lower. So instead of putting it at 6.817, you can put it at 6.815. Or just make it 1-to-1. Either way, it looked like it worked pretty well there. 25% would have played out. Yeah, I'm so excited for it, Kareem. Daylight savings time next week. Thank God. In Maine, it gets dark at, well, as of recently, it's been getting dark at like 5:30, but in the dead of winter, like last month, or no, 2 months ago in January, it would get dark at like 3:45, 3:50 for a couple of weeks. Daylight savings time needs to get going. It's not needed anymore. Maybe back in the freaking 1920, 1940 depression era. But I think we're in an advanced enough society now that we don't need to worry about reducing heating costs. What's going on, Turret buddy? How you doing? I don't pay. Does anyone know why daylight savings time is a thing? I ask as I just figured out what it truly was for like 2 weeks ago. Farmers. Incorrect. Well, that could be correct, but The reason that I read it, it's not for farmers. I always thought it was for farmers too. Fuel. The SR2, which I had no idea this is something that people do. The reason that they reduced or integrated daylight savings time is because it reduced the cost to heat your house during World War II. So while people are at their house, homeschooled, or yeah, World War One, World War Two, one of the two. I was halfway there. During daylight savings hours, people are home or awake for whatever time frame, so they heat their house while they're awake, and then when they go to sleep, they stop heating their house. And they just sleep with blankets on. So daylight savings time was integrated to save money on heating. Which is what I'm saying. I don't think we're not in the 1920s anymore. I don't think we really need daylight savings time. Just makes everyone so depressed for 5 months out of the year. Yeah, Pat. I'm also streaming on the Edgeful YouTube. So some of the chats might be from Edgeful, some of them might be from mine. And then I also have the Discord stream going. Yeah, it is very choppy right now. This is what this is what you should expect after a damn near 800 point drop from peak to the low. We were at 25.1 yesterday. Yesterday's high was 25.99. And our low pre-market was 24.369. So damn near 800 points overnight. Because we hit 25.1 at like 3 o'clock yesterday, 3 o'clock on the dot. And then we had this continuation down. I don't know what hard news it would be. I do know that we as in the US, struck Iran's parliament yesterday or last night. So I don't, other than that, I don't know what the news could have been that pushed us down so much last night. We didn't have any buying at all. We had 5 green candles on the 15-minute time frame since Asia opened yesterday, which is crazy. We don't have any 10 o'clock news today, do we? No speakers at 10? Unless it's Wednesday and my sickness made me sleep through a whole day, but I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. So what's this move up at 10? What is this? Probably don't need that arrow there anymore. We don't have a draw up to 600. I just wanted to see 600. Our only draw was previous day's low, which we hit immediately at the open. This looks like it's probably going to be a pretty hands-off day, though. Banger reminder. You have a reminder on your phone to put deodorant on? No turret, buddy. Never change. Is the IB due for a loss today? It is not. IB either way. And this is Tuesdays are the best day to trade the IB. This is back tested all the way back 5 years. IB is not formed yet. No, the IB still has another 30 minutes, 29 minutes. Back tested over 5 years. The IB This is the best day to play it on a Tuesday. 81.5% chance that we go and take the high when the low forms first. 71 that we go and take the low when the highs form first. The high forming first, the stat is going to be lower regardless because people do not enjoy pushing the market down. So when the IB makes this type of move and it's anticipating a break to the downside, human psychology, that's why it's a 10% less measure on a Tuesday. We just don't like pushing the market down. Whereas the market pushing the upside's a lot cleaner. Humans like pushing stuff up in the market. But it is not due a loss today, no. It's due a win. Has anyone else in here had issues with their Apex payouts? Steve's finally in here now. Steve, you're on. You can unmute and say it if you want to, but you're on day 11, right? Or day 12? With no response. Your payouts. $12 days. Bob said we should have got our 50% retracement, but we may have to wait a while for TB to hit one of those days, all fares as possible. Yeah, this is pretty rough for a Tuesday. Tuesdays are usually a lot better than this. Last Tuesday, we had a perfect 50% entry at 10:15. I don't think I took this one last Tuesday, but at the very least, it was smooth as can be from the IB. Usually, what happens on Tuesdays is something like this right here, where you get a perfect 50% entry. This Tuesday, I did take it at 10:15, or it was like 10:22, 570, 597.78. Which again, everyone make sure that you're well aware of this. We have been within the same exact range on SPY now and Qs going back to September 18th. So this is going on almost 6 months exactly. In another 2 weeks, it will be 6 months, but this is essentially 6 months that we've been within the same range. For reference, we're usually within this range for maybe 3 months, if that. The longer that we're within a range like this, the longer it's going to take for price, or the not longer it's going to take, but the more explosive the move is going to be once price is outside of the range. So that's what everyone's hoping for, hanging on for. Crude oil's at 76 a barrel. Yikes. I did enjoy filling my gas tank up last week for, it was like $2.60 a gallon, which may seem high to people in other states or other areas, but we have been at over $3 a gallon for years. Really, since Biden got into office, it's been like $3.20 to $3.30. The highest it got was $3.90. That was like 2 years ago. Northern Nevada. California is always going to be expensive. California is just expensive in general. What are my thoughts? I'm glad you asked, Mike. What are my thoughts regarding the new Apex changes and rules? They are absolutely terrible. No sugarcoating it. I'm not an affiliate with them, and that's probably part of the reason that I get so shafted by them. They are so incredibly sketchy. Yeah, I will, Steve. They're so sketchy with the way that they pay out. On the same note, those rules that they just implemented. First off, if we look at them based on what their retroactive ones were, not retroactive, sorry, what their old rules were, they increased the cost to buy the accounts. So it's $100 activation fee across the board now, as opposed to being 65 or 85 or based on wherever the account size was. So increased the cost, decreased your drawdown. All accounts got their drawdown decreased by 20%, I think. So the drawdown on the 25K account was 1,500. Now it's down to 1,000. 50K account was 2,500. Now it's down to 2,000. 100K account was 4,500, 3,500. I didn't look too much past the 25K and 50Ks, but decreased the drawdown. They increased the cost. They increased what you have to make for profit. So there's no more $50 profit days for a qualifying trading day. You have to make $100 on the 25K account, 150 on the 50K, 200, and so on. And then, yes, they got rid of the MAE rule. Doesn't matter if they got rid of the MAE rule when you have 14 days you have to wait for your payout anyway. And then for the accounts, the end of the day trailing drawdown doesn't really matter if they decreased how much drawdown you're available to, or how much drawdown you're allowed. Not available. What am I saying? So they all the changes they made, but maybe two of them are beneficial to Apex. They made it so you have to trade for more profit each day, even though it's not 8 trading days between payouts, 5, but their payout policy and the way that they pay out is horrendous. So if you guys are at the beginning of trading, first off, I don't think any of the people that push the affiliate codes for Apex even trade on Apex, or else they would probably have the same thoughts that I do. There's no reason to be trading on Apex unless you're trading all 20 accounts. And even then, it took me 2.5 months to get a max payout with Apex. Maybe I'm just not that good of a trader. But after I got my payout, 11 days for me to get that money in my bank account. And then I requested this payout, the second payout, 6 days ago. And I have no response. So not worth it. I think I'm and teammate Alex, I think his name is. He said that he made about the same amount that I did trading those 20 accounts, but he was using Tradeify, Lucid, and MyFunded Futures. Maybe Top Step too. He made like 35,000 over the month. I made 42,000 over the month for February. But he didn't have to deal with any of the BS rules that Apex has. So I would arguably take his position, which is what I'm trying to do with MyFunded Futures and Tradeify and Lucid. MyFunded Futures, I'm at 5,500 for payouts so far this month. Technically only 3,000, but the payout that I requested on Friday last week didn't settle until Sunday. So that was technically March 1st. That counts for March. Zinc is going to beg for my entry with his 50% around where I entered the IB forms. All right. Why are you going to bully me, man? I think we're gonna get our 50% entry. Hopefully, 1 minute. We have 4 minutes until we can maybe start looking for it. I don't really like taking the entries super early when the range is small like this. We can definitely go in with at least 1 micro on M and Q. Well, obviously we couldn't go any less than 1 micro on M and Q. The range that we're going to be looking for is 100 points. So we could go in with 2 M and Q. I'd rather keep it with 1 M and Q because it's $200 for the full TP. Could definitely go in with 2 MES though if we get up to 50%. MES's range hopefully is like 20 points from the midpoint. MES is a lot more relaxed in a trade, I will add. So it is from the midpoint, if we get lucky enough, 766 down to 738, 28 points. California is higher than Hawaii. Hawaii's gas wasn't really that bad when I was there. I made a terrible mistake. We went to honeymoon in Hawaii, and I rented a Tesla. Hated it. Absolutely hated Tesla. I rented a Tesla because I thought the gas was going to be stupid expensive in Hawaii. So I was like, oh, I'll rent an electric car because this will save us money on gas. And no, it was terrible. I ended up losing money because we drove the Tesla around for a day, and then I could not figure out how to charge the damn thing. So I brought it back 2 days early, and I didn't get a refund. I am looking for shorts right now. Yes, I'm looking for shorts the IB. We didn't quite get back to 50% on MES or MNQ. We got up to 596.74. It's also a little early to enter. With how bad this is chopping, I think it's pretty likely that we're going to get a 50% entry. I'm going to do 1 micro on MNQ, or we're going to do 2 MES. I went to Oahu, yeah. Abe. Yes, Julian. I'm looking for shorts the IB low. The IB is a very small range. $150 profit in day 2 with a 2K drawdown, so they're similar to others. Yeah, I'm saying they're similar to other accounts now, Tom, but I'm saying in comparison to what their rules used to be. So 150 profit for a 50K account as opposed to $50 profit with 25K not 25K drawdown, 2,500 in drawdown. So they increased what you had to make for a qualifying trading day by 3, and they decreased your drawdown by 20%. I would say it's a small range, KP. What am I saying? KB. I'd say it's a small range because we came off of a 500-point drop from last night. So yes, I think it is a pretty small range. But did they improve the payout, or still will need to wait 2 weeks? I don't think they've improved the payout speed. Otherwise, I wouldn't be waiting on day 6 to get a payout from them. In comparison, yes. Which firm do you recommend for newer traders? I think Lucid's the best. They're one of the only firms that has a one-time payment. So if you are interested in non-monthly recurring payments, you don't want to rush getting your payout, Lucid's the best firm to go and choose. I think the 25K Pro, especially with the changes they just made, you can get a $1,500 payout on your second round. So you could You can spend $350 in 2 payouts. You'll have 12,500 back. 2 max payouts anyway. That's for 5 accounts. $75 per account for the Lucid 25K Pros. And then after Lucid, I think I'm going to say my funded futures and then Tradeify because of the payout speed. I got the payout last night in, as I just showed, 8 seconds. And breakout days are 60% plus. It reverses to 25%. Yeah, I don't look for the continuation afterwards. I don't look for the IB by rejection or by retracement either. So like yesterday, it did retrace 25% of the IB and then broke again. I don't really care about that stat. I'm only playing the IB break itself, which kind of stinks that we couldn't get that retracement all the way up. It was looking pretty good right there. I use Tradeivate for everything, Julian. If you guys do want to pick up some Lucid accounts, code Zinc, plug myself. Code Zinc works for Tradeify, Lucid, and my funded futures. Those are the only ones that I will back. Please tell Andre to add IB50 report before break. Well, we've been working on it. It's difficult. The best that they have is the over or under 50% metric. It's difficult to add in stats for after the IB's formed, and then was the chance that it retraces up to 50% and then continues down. I do EB, yeah. Should be linked in the bio of my Twitter. I'm a little disappointed with the lack of entry. I mean, hindsight, we could have chased that 10-12, but it is a pretty tight range, and that would have been 18 minutes early to getting the IB. I don't think they have wealth charts, but they do. You can sign up for the beta on Lucid and Tradeify for TradeC. It has a built-in copier for both Tradeify and Lucid that you can trade all 10 of the accounts that you get with Tradeify and Lucid. So you can copy trade all 10 of them on that one platform. It is still in beta. I don't know how long it's going to be in beta for, but it's like a built-in version of the trade copier or trade copier. That's pretty good. I think once they have that finalized, it should finally put the nail in the coffin for Top Step. Also, Michael Patak came out, Top Step CEO, came out and said that the reason they got rid of gold and crude oil futures was because they were losing too much money on it. In his exact words, he said they were losing their ass on gold and precious metal futures. Kind of funny. I had an 80-point slippage on the accounts yesterday. Is that with TradeC? I don't use it, Maggie. It's the built-in one with TradeC. They're still in beta right now, but Turret Buddy just said that he had 80 points of slippage on the accounts yesterday. They're still in beta. It's the platform that they're making for Lucid and Tradeify to copy trade together. It's supposed to be their competition with Top Step. I use the one that's built into Tradeivate. So you go into the top right, click on application settings in the top right, add-ons, and then it's the group trade that I have active on here. All right, our range is not so small now. 531 is the midpoint, and then the lows at 398, so about 140 points. That entry at 1012 doesn't seem so bad now. Even had we gotten that entry at 1012, because if we're going to look at it hindsight like that, we might as well look at both metrics here. Full TP would have been at 594.55. So at best, our entry was at 596.72. Exit would have been 594.55, which if we go and correlate that over to M and Q, draw this line in here, just to mark it here real quick. Or don't stick on the chart. That's cool too. So that would have been our exit, and then our entry. I hate how clunky Trade Evade is. Our best possible entry on this trade would have been 24,552, and our exit would have been 24,460. So 90-point drop, 80-point drop at best. How close are you to another payout, KP? Sad thing is that hit 50% perfectly. All these wicks now. Might not get an entry today, but we still made a decent chunk from Globex IB. So while we're waiting for this to pull back for us, let's go and review that Globex IB again. Not too much to review, but it is the same exact concept. So 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock is the range for Globex. If the high forms first, you're targeting the low. If the low forms first, you target the high. You wait for a 50% retracement. That's exactly what happened last night. And then it was a 34-point full TP. Slippage only gave me 31 points, 31 and a half. So that full trade last night, 25.11 was the high, formed all the way down to a low of 24,944. So a 34-point range from the midpoint. And then full TP hit right at 713, sorry. You're right, KP. What am I using for the stop loss for today, or the one for last night, Maggie? The Globex one? In general, stop loss, I always put it at 1-to-1. So if we get, that's why we want the entry at the midpoint, because then our stop loss is the IB high, which is where it's invalidated. And then the IB low is the take profit. So ideally, we always have a 1-to-1 risk reward. For today, let's say I enter at, not saying I'm going to, but let's say I enter at 24.4. I'm not going to put my stop loss all the way up to the IB high at 24,660. If I enter at 24.4 and the full TP on the IB is 25 points, I'm going to put my stop loss at 25 points, which doesn't really make sense to do because it's, this is a what? Almost a 150-point candle right now. So if you put a 25-point stop loss and you're asking to get stopped before it even makes a move in the direction you want. $3 drop. Nice. Range is getting nice and big now. We also just took out our London low. We should have a bounce from here at least. If we get the 50% entry today, I will be over the moon. I don't think we're going to, but thanks, Zink, off for the day job. See you at Globex IB. Enjoy the day. You too, Mark. See ya. Why is IB 50 so important? Because that's where you get your best possible 1-to-1 risk reward entry. The reason the 50% is where I look to get all my entries, obviously sometimes we don't, but if you are putting a stop loss in that is underneath where the opposing side of the IB is, that's where the invalidation of the IB is. So 24,661 is where the IB for today is invalidated. If I enter all the way down at 24.4, like I just said, my invalidation should be 24,661, which is a 260 point drop or stop loss. That means that I'm risking 260 points to make maybe 40 points. And the reason that that's the invalidation is because it says right here, for the initial balance breakout, 77% of the time you're going to have one side of that IB break. 17% you're going to have two, and 4% you're going to have no break. So we're using the IB by rejection to tell us which side to go and target. Great, we're targeting the low for today. If it goes and breaks the high, that's the IB done for the day. And that means that's the invalidation of our IB trade. That's why you don't want to go and enter. So for the IB, you don't want to go and enter too early, or you don't want to continuously enter early, because then if I put a short position in and I put a 1-to-1 risk reward on it, still a decent trade. It's a 1-to-1 risk reward, but what happens if it goes and stops me out at 595? Does that mean the IB is invalidated for the day? No. The IB is still valid because it hasn't gone and taken the upside. It also hasn't gone and broken the downside. So I got stopped out before the trade was truly invalid. That's why you put the stop loss at the IB high. But then if you do that, you're risking 0.3. Your risk reward is 0.3. You're risking $5 to the upside to make $1.60 to the downside. So you want your entry ideally to be at 50% of the IB. And then if you don't get the entry, I'm not going to go and enter the IB and do something like this for today, because that, even though it's a 1-to-1 risk reward, the VIX is trading at 26. Moves are volatile. I mean, there's a 10-15 candle right now that's moved down $3.40. Hindsight, yeah, we should have entered at that 10-12 pivot, because that would have given us our best possible entry. 10-12 is way over 50% of the IB now. But if you remember when we went to the replay mode here, let's start new. Once it loads. So that 10-12 candle almost got to 50% of the IB. That was what our IB was looking like right there. So yes, hindsight, we could have gotten a very good entry. Let's say we had entered at the absolute peak of that candle, our TP would have been here, because that was the current IB low. I wouldn't have held it all the way down to where it is right now anyway. And then play it forward. We would have had our full TP hit, and then we would have been just as salty because it would have missed that entire move to the downside. So that's why you can't, everyone's a perfect hindsight trader, but you can't be too picky like that, or try to call it perfect like that. VIX is at 28 currently. Yeah, sorry, I forgot I have it delayed. 26.44 with a 15-minute delay. Which way would you target when news candles that create IB high and low is the same 1 to 5 minute candle? Then you go down to the 1 minute time frame and you locate which one formed the high. I mean, it's pretty easy today to tell which high or low formed first. Exactly what I was just saying right there. So this is a decent pullback, right? This popped up from where the IB low is. This popped up now 50 points. So we could take the entry right here, but then what's our risk? Do we put a 1-to-1 in with 50-point risk reward? Could be a little greedy and take the entry early. I'd rather wait for it to pull back up a little bit. Not because I don't think it's going to drop, but because of the volatility. This candle can just as easily push up another 50 points and then drop to our IB low. Now that it's at 70 points, it's looking a little bit better. If it goes up to like 80, 90, 100, then The higher it goes, the better off we are. Is what I'm getting at. SPY is also looking pretty damn good for our entry if we can get a bit more of a push up. But this is also a 40-point range on SPY. Hang on a minute here. We might get an entry. Right now, I don't think it's too bad. It pushed up 100 points from the IB low now. You mentioned that sometimes the IB is overdue for a loss. How do you decide if it's overdue or just looking at the Edgeful report? If this was showing like 95%, then I probably wouldn't take it. You can also go down to the table on Edgeful. You can go and look through with like the higher low forms first. For the low forming first on a Tuesday, this one was at. I want the low form first, please. There we go. So going to look at this, 440 would have been damn good entry on that. Hindsight 2020. SPY is probably what we're going to take it on today if it can get a little bit more. But I mean, that was perfect right there. Perfect representation of what I was just saying. If we had entered at 24.4, and let's say we put a 1-to-1 risk reward on that, 50 points down, 50 points up, we would have just been 10 points away from our stop loss. And that's because of the volatility. So that trade would have had quite a bit of luck associated with it because of how volatile the market's moving up and down right now. We want to be patient and let it get up. You can still take the entry if you wanted to and have your stop loss all the way up at like 24.6. Yesterday, I was pretty uncomfortable in the trade. Even though I took it early and we won on it, I was still pretty uncomfortable because it wasn't it was a rush trade. I entered early. Probably shouldn't have. And it worked out, but all that does is teach you bad habits. So I'm not going to go and do that same model into today. Anyway, back to this. So you can see from 12.9 to 01.27, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, 6 weeks in a row. And then it lost 02.10. So that's how I go about seeing if it's overdue a loss or not. This is depending on how large of a win streak it's on. And all that back testing that you guys just did as well, it usually peaks at like 6 to 7 wins in a row. So if I see that it's at 6 wins in a row, maybe sit out for the trade, don't take it, or just take it with a much, much smaller position. Why you gotta do that, KP? Got stopped in profit, re-entered risk-free. There you go. How much you up today? Imagine that. Damn thing keeps putting in lower lows consistently for the last 10 minutes. I'm moving my fibs constantly. So sick, I'll just rage trade short to keep daring it to stop going lower. That's not a bad idea. You guys want me to go short right now, so it goes to the 50%. This is right about where Dan gets his entry. It's at 25% of the IB, but I'm being patient. We might get our 50% entry. What do you see for streaks for losses? Doesn't usually go on that large of a losing streak. So just looking at this chart for Tuesdays, this was one loss, 0210. The last time it lost was 1101. So 0210 for a Tuesday. The last loss before that was 3 months ago. And then before that was 0217 for the high forming first. But for the past 15 Tuesdays, I think that's 15, 13, it's had 2 losses when the lows form first, which is crazy. Holy smokes, everyone say a prayer. I can't believe this thing's bouncing like it is. Keep going. A little bit more. I'm going to go in with 1 probably. I'm going to be a little risky. I'm going to do one M and Q short. And I'm going to put a 100-point stop on this. So short 1 M and Q. It is early to the IB 50, but I don't think it's going to get all the way up. I was saying I didn't want to get the entry at like 24.4 or even lower than that. But with a 100-point risk reward, I think that's fine. Short 1 M and Q at, what was the entry? 24,450. 100-point stop loss, 100-point take profit. But you don't take all the IB50s, right? Because sometimes QQQ and QQQ and SPY are in line, correct? Dan is using IB25 along with VWAP for additional confirmation. Gotcha. I think we were probably just pretty blessed with that pivot up right there. I don't think it'll go much further. Up 45 right now. I'm going to probably try to trail the stop up pretty quick because we did enter early. I know I sound like I'm breaking rules I was just talking about. I was saying I didn't want to get an entry. Had we gotten an entry early at 24.4, the risk reward on that is terribly skewed. Having it push up another 100 points though, all the way up to 24,450. I think that's a lot better than trying to get an entry down here at 24.4 or even lower than that. So it is early. And again, if this one ends up getting a stop out hit on it, that's my fault for entering early. It's not the strategy. This is a little bit of intuition that we're slapping in as well. I'm sure if I had VWAP on the chart, which I don't use, we're probably pretty close to VWAP right now if anyone wants to fact check that. And now what I do after I enter is I like to go and look at my phone or look at anything but the chart. No bottom wick on that 15-minute candle. Also, I'm more biased to the downside. Yeah, we should have quite a few confluences pushing down. Very bearish for the day anyway, as is. Nope, it's way higher. VWAP is higher than where it is right now. Crazy. Excuse me. It's coming back to where 50% it is. If it gets all the way up to 50%, I'm going to add one at 24.5. And then for that contract, I'm going to put a stop loss at the high at 650. And then the TP is going to be the low. So if this one loses, this will be a $200 loss. And then we'll get an entry at 24.5. And that TP will be 150 points. So we'll lose 200 if this one hits the stop loss. And then the second trade will have a $300 risk reward. The reason that I'm going in with M and Q is because I'm already up 120 from last night. And then I will also add, I'll do one MES as well if it gets up to that 50. Could even do MES right now. It's like a 30-point break. Don't need that error on there. 500 has large liquidity on NQ. 24.5. Where is that level? Yeah, that's right at 50% of the IB. I can't believe it even it missed the IB low by missed the IB low by 13 cents. So the fact that we're even getting a pivot up this much is insane. after barely missing the IB low. I don't think it's going to reverse the IB high. If it does, then whatever. It's slightly unlucky. There we go, back up 40 now. SPY, I think, is a pretty good entry right here, too. Just a suggestion, but using volume profile, especially for early entries, can really help. Yeah, it's just an added thing that I don't want to have on my chart, though. I like my charts being clean. If this one ends up losing, just notice that I am also comfortable with the loss that's on the position. If I lose $200, then I'll be down $80 on the day from last night's IB. Up 75 right now. Almost just hit 50 points, I think. What was the low of that? At about 40 points green. So $80. I'm in short right now. Bitcoin's honestly doing pretty good for all this downside that we have. Which is nice to see. Give me that dump, baby. 100 point, not 100 points, $100 green right there. Just hit 50 points on the dot. I don't really. Do we trail it to break even now? 24.4. Yeah, we'll put it at break even. Risk free. Stop at break even. Hopefully it doesn't go and wick up and take me out, but if it does, so be it. I'll be a little sad. Add. This looks good. I never add. How is it possible 2 days in a row different accounts? You're off by 10 cents today, Bear. You beat yesterday's record. That's so unfortunate. No! Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. That's why I don't add right there. Because if I had added, I probably would have put the stop at break even. Then I would have definitely been out. I'm going to be a little upset if this stops me at break even. Because I probably should have just secured the 100. And this is why I like entering the trade and not watching what's going on. Where's my little fidget? I just read the comments. Where's everyone tuning in to? Tuning into the stream from today? Drop it in chat. Just give me the low. I might have trailed the stop a little too soon as well, but it was up 50 points. Kind of wish I had added on MES, because that ad would have been another 10 points profit on that. It's going to stop me out. You bitch. Damn it. If it gets up to the 24.5, then I'll definitely re-enter. That stinks. London, Texas. Oh, what's going on, Rotherby? Chile, Illinois. IA. That's not Illinois, is it? Iowa. Damn all the I states. If I did I just get stopped right there by, no, it broke over by 10 points. Peaked up 100 at least. By hindsight, should have secured it. Maybe we'll get our entry at 50. And then we can have a 1-to-1 and it'll be a $300 trade. If this goes to full TP now, I'm going to cry. Kansas, Massachusetts, Netherlands. The IB has not been goated lately. What? What do you mean? Alabama, Puerto Rico, Alberta, Canada, London, Orlando, London again, Texas, Portugal, Chattanooga, the west coast of Canada, Singapore, Asia. I don't know what you're talking about. IB's been fine. IB's been doing great. Florida, Orlando, Florida. A lot of people from Florida. Amsterdam. No one from Maine. Quebec, Canada. That's close. There you go, Bear. Fixed it. 10 cents does suck. That's very unlucky. Man. That one hurts. That's down another 50 points now. Hopefully it bounces. I want back in. I don't want to chase it now because then that's just going to be a chase after missing the trade. But this sucks. Oh, I should have left the stop loss where it was. The trader pivot, what's going on? Is there a cutoff time you'll wait before you decide not to enter the 50%? Usually like noon. Good afternoon from Ibiza, Spain. Hello? Yeah, this stinks. I'm a terrible trader. Everyone throw it at me. Shit. No. That's $120 profit. I missed. Back in at the if it gets back up to the 50, I'll get back in. I don't think it's going to though. I think I kind of just screwed myself a little bit right there. Maybe if it gets back up to 24,450, I might chase it again. Son of a bitch. Oh no. I did it to myself. I did it to myself. Oh no. I had it. It was in my hands. It's a $200 trade in my hands. It's gonna go hit full TP. This should be a great lesson, and I should have listened to myself there. Do you guys see why even having 50-point stops? And this all comes back to talking about entering at 24.4. It was a 50-point risk reward on that trade. Had we had a 50-point stop and entered down at 24.4, that's a $100 loss for no reason. I just took probably what's going to be a $200 trade off the table because I moved the stop up. It was up 110. I moved the stop to break even. I ended up getting ticked out for 750 profit because it wicked up 50 points, which it's not something that should happen typically, but it just did. And that's because the volatility is so high. So I kind of just screwed myself there by putting the stop at break even. Or at the very least, I should have secured it at 100, half the profit target. Is what it is. Things happen. Trading isn't perfect. I wish it was. The worst thing that I can go and do now is try to chase it down to the short side now. So if I enter shorts at 24.4 and put a 50-point stop, 50-point reward on it, then I would have almost just gotten stopped there right there at 24.440 again. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. We might get our entry. We might get back in. Please let me back in. Please. I'll be so nice to you. NQ, I'll take you on so many dates. I'll treat you like the queen you are. Just let me back in. I made a mistake. I was wrong. Please. Yes, I wish I had chased on that. That entry was at 6748. I almost added in there too. 6747. And that is a 22-point drop. So that would have been 110 on that as well. And this one doesn't look like it would have stopped me out at break even. Wouldn't even have gotten close to it, actually. Don't make me wish I was in ES and Q. I hate ES. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance, please. Come back. That's why I use VP, especially for early entries, is better than just estimating where to enter for me anyway. It's still a really good entry I had. I mean, I'm not upset about the entry. I'm upset that I freaking trailed the stop loss. You son of a bitch. I could have gotten back in there, 24.440. God, this thing is, I mean, still though, it's jumping 50 points like it's designed to do that. This is a 1 minute time frame. These candles are 50 points up and down with the wicks. We just went from 24.380 all the way up to 24.440 in 2 minutes, and then right back down to 24.376. If you could give advice to someone willing to use the IB, never got funded, neither payout, what would it be? Size down. Just stay size down. You're like Happy Gilmore right now when he's begging and yelling into the apartment intercom. That's exactly what I'm doing. I didn't mean it, please. I didn't mean it. See you, Rolo. Good night, you little Aussie. Because it was volatile, but we have our overnight win, so we're good. Yeah, it's still pain, though. Still very sad. I wish I had gotten it on SPY. That would have made me feel at least a little better. I should have gotten in at that 6747. I was looking at it, too. I just didn't end up pulling the trigger on it. This would be 6747. That's $150 on one MES, which is still crazy. And then it would have been 200 on MNQ, which is going to go hit the full TP. So 350. I would have qualified for my third daily payout in a row. If only it was in a perfect world and I was a better trader. This is making me very sad, though. This is making me very, very sad. I'm in Central Maine Asylum. Stop, hunt, and drop. Please. Please. Push. Please. I beg you. Go a little bit higher. Make some inversion failed rally gap or something. Push it up a little bit. Every time I'm so close to the payout, the market just wants to tease me. The volatility is not to be messed with. Oh! No! I could have gotten it again. That one would have only been 160. That's an 80-point drop to the downside. How'd you gather the 20 accounts you worked on each one to rise up the buffer? Those ones I just traded very slowly for 2 months. Those accounts I was very, very slow to trade. Man, I've never been teased so bad. This chart's playing with me. It went all the way from 24,373 right back up to 24,430. Making these 30, 40-point wicks for nothing. Please just push up to 595. Do it. We're mere mortals, not have been granted that payout through, so good on you for it. Yeah, they really are dangling it in front of us right now. I would have been up 150 right there at 24,372. Hang on a minute. Get up there. Come on. Push. The jilted lover giving you the come hither. Come on. Get up there. Get up. 595.80. That's all I want. Could definitely take the same entry right now and put it at 100 points. Probably should. Yeah, I know what you meant by that. Rather be. The 20 accounts I didn't. I'm blowing on my screen. It should help. Yeah, everyone blowing your screen right now should push it up. The 20 accounts, you're asking how I built the buffer on it? Or how long it took to build the buffer? How'd you gather the 20 accounts you worked on each one to rise up? I copy traded all of them together. Oh, man, I want to enter again. Please let me in. I didn't mean it. Screw it. I'm in again. Be nice to me. Just dangling the fruit in front of my face. Okay, so stop is going to be 1-to-1 is going to be 95 points instead. Because I got a little bit worse of an entry on that. So 25.40. Buy 5 stop. If SPY pushes up a little bit more, I'll try it again. Not try it again because I never answered on SPY, but you get the point. I was thinking of you the whole time. If this one gets me, I'll be a little sad. Because then it's going to go to 50% and everything's going to be fine. It's okay. It'll work out. Leo says it's going to go higher. Do I have to go have a talk with him? Oh, shoot. We are at the, we're already at 11. Man, that went fast. All right, guys, that will do it for the stream today. This is the trade I have open right now. 95-point risk reward on it. We'll look for the IB low. If this one ends up losing, I'll probably call it after the 95 points, and I don't think I'll trade it after. But that will do it for today. I will be live same time tomorrow. We will be giving away 5 1-month subs to Edgeful tomorrow on stream. Andre will be live with us. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you all same time tomorrow. Peace out.